Yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
First world, come in and take a seat. Pay us no attention, it's all conspiracy. We have satire and parody, some funny, some perverse. If none of it's offensive to you, you'd be the first.
Fairview's coffee has mysteriously gone missing. Mayhem ensues when strange, coffee-craving zombies plague the city. Detective Mickey Potatoes, an overworked public servant, uncovers why ordinary citizens are losing their minds and how to stop the coffee apocalypse. But it involves the mafia. And when you're dealing with mafia crime families, nothing is ever easy. The mafia controls everything in the city, including the police, including him. If he breaks the mafia, they will break him. So, the city is without coffee. The city is burning before his very eyes, but he's powerless. Detective Potatoes has the power to stop the coffee apocalypse, but if he does, he could lose everything.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Creative Cranium. Happy Thursday night, everybody. I got some terrific guests, so I want to just launch right in. Please welcome Rob Multari and Carissa Grant.
Hello.
Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having me.
We got a great topic tonight. We're going to talk about some merchandising elements. I guess real quick, we should say congrats to Doc. I see he funded.
Yeah, he's my CromCon co-host. I got to come out here and give him some love. Right on, Doc.
Yeah. He's a heck of a good guy, too. I love that. Congrats,
I'm
Doc.
getting out your way now.
Thanks, brother. Thanks. So, hey, while we're congratulating people, I got to mention I got two of the hottest Kickstarter creators with us right now who actually have some of the more creative and what I feel is some of the more effective merchandising techniques. So I'm super excited to talk to you guys. To start off with, let's just quick go around the room and introduce yourself and what you are mostly known for. Rob, we'll start with you.
Sounds good. Yeah, thanks. So for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Rob Multari. I'm the creator and writer of Nightwolf and Snowpaw and founder of Lone Wolf Comics. I've been doing this for over 5 years now, and we're up to issue 7 for Nightwolf and working on issue 3 for Snowpaw.
Congrats, Rob. That's a really, it's a great achievement. I've been following that series.
Thank you.
And Carissa, hey, we know each other a little bit. She's been over on Holden's 11 too. We had a great time on that show. Congrats to you a second time for Redemption.
Oh, yeah.
So tell us what you're mostly known for, Carissa.
Well, I'm like Rob. I've been doing this for like 6 months, so I'm not as wide known, but
Rookie of the Year. We got Rookie of the Year here.
Yeah.
So I am I started Worthy Chaos Comics, which has three series right now. The first one is Redemption. I somehow am on issue 4. Don't ask me how. It launched this past Tuesday. So
that one's already funded too.
We were funded in 6 hours. Yeah, thanks to Rob and everyone else that was watching. And my mom who was watching.
Yeah. I'm coming too. I told, I'll just quick say to the viewers, hey, so if you get a chance, we're going to be supporting these 2 Kickstarters tonight. I'm going to put some information about them up on the screen. But just if you're just joining us, that is Nightwolf and Worthy Chaos Redemption. In my case, some of you might know me a little already. I'm Timothy Fling. Some of you know me as Holden. I'm a writer and publisher, and I'm mostly known for the Water Wars series. And I'm kind of a Kickstarter fella at this point. We have number 6 going right now. That's The Call of the Cryptid, a cryptid-based visual sci-fi adventure. But enough about me. Let's jump right over to Rob. Hey, Rob, one of your things is you always do well with merchandise. You got a lot of different things available. What are some of the new things that you're featuring in your new campaign?
Yeah, so something new that I'm trying out this time around is doing like weekly add-ons. So basically they start from Wednesday at noon to the following Wednesday at noon, and it switches to a new. So I'm doing like tin signs, which is the first, and wall art, which is like framed pieces of art that you can hang on your wall, or even it's the frame is thick enough that you could even stand it on a table.
Nice.
So and the tin signs each come with like the pinholes on each corner, so you can have that hung wherever you want on your wall, garage, whatever, you know. A lot of things, you know. Also, I'm going to be playing with 11 by 17 prints and metal prints as well, which is something I usually don't do that size. But I'm like, you know what? Hey, we're going to try something new with these weekly ones and see how it does. And so far, so good. And we'll just keep putting up new art each week, and open they go.
I like the concept. I'll check that out. And we're going to take a look at that in a little bit as we review some of Rob's Kickstarter. But first, Carissa, how about you? And, you know, I thought you were perfect to be on this show. And let me say real quick why. First of all, because we're all kind of horror people to start with, and that's awesome to start with. But the other thing is you also are one of the people that is known for having cool merch. So what kind of things are you featuring in your new campaign?
There's like 1,000 tiers. This is the first time I'm also doing metal prints. It's the same size as the standard comic book, so it's not as big. I have metal bookmarks. I have, thanks to you, the wood and laser etched print, which is I came today and looks amazing.
Chris, I got to tell you, I love that Ken Hunt cover on the
right.
Oh, yeah, that one's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did an amazing job. I mean, I have hoodies and sweatshirts with it on it, and it's very popular. Everyone loves that cover, and even the black and white and the color are like
the colors. Cici Del Cruz did a great job.
She did amazing. They're both gonna do my graphic novel book 1 cover, and they're going to do it like a movie poster, which I'm super excited about because he's gonna do like I think most of the characters on there. And hi Ryan, he says, "What's Worthy Chaos?" That's me.
Go ahead, you got a question there, Carissa? Run with it. Tell us about Worthy Chaos.
It's a survival horror adventure with a lot happening in the background. The easiest example of what it's like, it's Buffy the Vampire Slayer meets Supernatural and Silent Hill and the Resident Evil world. 2 main characters pretty much trying to survive against their fathers. Seraphina's an angel descendant and he's a demon descendant, and their fathers are after them because she was created from an angelic weapon, and by taking that from her, by killing her and taking it from her, they can tip the scales of the war between heaven and hell. And there's more to it that they're not letting on to why they want the weapon, but that's their reasoning for wanting it. So it's mostly survival horror. It's also been called Romeo and Juliet in Hell, so you can go with that too.
I kind of like that tagline.
Yeah. Somebody called it that at one of the cons, and I was like, it's a very accurate description of them. Yeah. But as for more merch, we have the regular 3D print of the Anubis bust. We have the resin printed RPG tabletop miniature of Anubis. We have plushies, we have pillows, big ones, and 4 different small ones. We have like I said, the shirts and the hoodies, and there's probably more packed. Oh, the statues. We've got handmade clay statues of Anubis, Chibi Anubis, which is thanks to Rob because his artist was amazing.
Yeah, Megan does a good chibi.
Oh, she's doing my chibi Hellhound, the one that follows my Anubis around with a stick in his mouth. So she's going to do that. Yes, Anubis plays fetch with a Hellhound in this issue. No reason, just does. And then it follows him around like a puppy. And then there's a statue of the 2 main characters. So yeah, there's
a lot of stuff. Okay, we'll come back. I got a couple of questions for each one. One quick question for Rob. I followed a couple of the Nightwolf campaigns too. And by the way, one quick thing I want to say, I thought it was great how you guys support each other. And, I'm real grateful about the way the indie community has supported me. And I'm thrilled to death to see you guys doing it. And here's what I mean by that. Rob helped me to get my banners for Baltimore last year through that company, and that was a big hit. And that's why I reached out when Carissa said about the wood carvings. You got to talk to this guy, Wes. And
I called immediately.
Yeah, and he's a super fun guy to work with too. And so that's just one of the great things about the indie comic community is that there is a lot of brotherhood and a lot of sort of,
I was trying to think of how I met Rob, and it's because I asked him about his voodoo plushie. That's what started it.
You happen to see the designs or something, and then I was preparing for my launch.
Well, you ready? I got a question about this because one of the things that we like to do is, we like to kind of get inside you guys' heads, right? And I want to see what you're thinking. And my question is this, and I'll go to Rob next with this one. So you have this merch, right? Tell me a little bit about what your goal is with the merch, because it's easy to say, "Oh, hey, I want to make more money on my Kickstarter campaign," but it's probably not just that, right? Some of the stuff is for collectors, right? Some of it is about building your fan base. Everybody's got a different thing they're trying to achieve, trying to get more readers. Rob, what are you trying to achieve with your merch?
So, I came from, a marketing background. I'm mostly a web and graphic designer. So one of the companies that I worked for was a restaurant. that had been around since before I was born. They were founded in like 1974, but like everybody in my area knows who it is, and then like they kind of like franchise and spread out, right? Well, one of the things that I learned, from working there, like one of their big things was merchandising and having their logo on everything.
Right.
So that was kind of like part of it, but also like for me as a fan, I like to see that kind of stuff. It opens up to wider audiences. I would love to get into action figures someday. For me, I've always been a toy collector and a comic collector. So, those kind of come hand in hand. So I would definitely love to get into that. It's kind of like my next, like I'm reaching for. But with the plushie, that was kind of like a happy accident with, as we were talking about Megan, she has done like pinup art and chibi art for me. And she did a pinup art for my trade paperback for the volume 1 and had the voodoo doll design in it. And we're like, people loved it. And I thought this would be a great, plush toy, and this would be a good way to like kind of bring me into like a more, so like right now I'm kind of like more teen to adult with my books. So I thought like with the plush toy that might kind of help me go into like more of a kid audience as well. Spawning a kid's book that Megan and I are working on featuring, the voodoo doll in origins.
He's going to join my plushie army.
So yeah, those, I had that campaign last, in February that ended, and they'll be coming in this June. So we'll be fulfilling both campaigns together, which is going to be very hectic, but at least all at the same time.
Gotcha. Sure.
Yeah. For me, like too, like I've always been, like I said, I love Legos. Having like the characters.
Oh yeah, sure.
Their Lego form is cool. It's just trying different things. Obviously apparel is always great to have. Trying different things, like not to do, this time around I'm doing zip up hoodies with embroidery on the front and then printed on the back. Trying something different, just seeing what sticks.
Cool. And Carissa, how about you? And I'll just add one thing too. Like I agree with you, and I think it's great to have the multiple kinds of things because you never know what kind of fan is going to follow your book, and really anywhere you can find them, it's a welcome addition. Carissa, how about you? What's the goal with the merch? Are you just trying to make more money? Is it you want more backers? You want more fans?
No, I bought all my merch because I wanted it, and now it's tax deductible offering it to you. Everything I bought was something I wanted. I have 12 different plushies in here, and my zombie merman and the pillows, and of course my support Anubis. Everything I bought was something I wanted, and then I bought an extra one for the campaign, and now it's tax deductible. So this is the best hobby I've ever had because it's all paid for by the government and tax deductible, and so bring on the merch, man. I'll take it all. So.
Nice. Okay, well, how about this? When you are designing the merch, and I'll ask Rob this question first. Who chooses it? Do you choose it yourself? Do you, is there a family member that says, hey, this would be cool to see on a hooded sweatshirt? Is there a fan that says, I wish there was a plushie of this? Rob, who chooses it? How do you get your idea?
The ideas usually come out of my noodle, and then I ask. I kind of say, hey, so I'll either I'll post a Facebook post, or I'll ask my wife or my con helper April, or my sons, or just in general, or I said online, I'll do surveys, or you say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. You like this style, but generally whenever I'm doing something, I already have it in my head that I'm going to do it. Sometimes I get so many options that I can't choose myself that I'm like, okay, now I need somebody to say yes to this or this or this. You know what I mean? Because I had a T-shirt design that it was either the logo was at the top, the logo was at the bottom. It was faded, regular. I had so many versions of the same tee that I was like, all right, I can't decide. You guys tell me.
Gotcha.
And that's kind of how the zip up came about. Was that I originally was just going to do the embroider on the front. And then I was like, hey, would you prefer this hoodie with the design, the logo printed, or the design art printed like I usually do? Or would you like the the zip up with the embroidery. And a lot of people were asking for the embroidery, but there was a few people who were like, how about you combine that and put it on the back? And I believe, Krista, you were one of them.
Yes, I love embroidery, but I really like the picture. So, yeah, I wasn't very helpful. So.
Yeah, so it was like, oh, well, why not just, why does it have to be A or B? Why can't it be C?
Why not? That's my philosophy. Yeah.
Yeah. Carissa, how about you? How do you choose them? Do you choose them?
I don't choose. That's why I have 20 different things here. I think of it and then I buy it. There's no choosing. I'm Pisces. There's no choosing between two.
Okay, hold on, Pisces. I got a question about that too. And now, first, real quick before I move on to the next one. So, do you vet them at all, or do you like say, "Hey, well, I've always wanted a plushie. I'll get," like you just jump right in the water?
I don't think very much. I just jump in. I didn't even think about when I was making a comic. I hired an artist that night.
There's nothing wrong with that, Chris, I admire that you follow your heart. I kind of dig that about you.
How I discovered the plushies was I was actually at a Comic-Con and someone had plushies there that she handmade. And I actually asked her, do you think it would be possible to make my characters? And she's like, sure, which ones? And I was like, all of them. Like, it was like, I need them all done. I'm just waiting for Croc now because Croc is the hellhound with the broken horn. He's coming in June. Her machine's broken. So thank you. The machine's broken, Richard. So Richard's awesome.
I'd like to commend Richard on his correct use of the apostrophe. It impresses me whenever I see someone do it. Sorry, I'm retentive about certain things. That's one of them. Congratulations, Rick. You know how to use the apostrophe well. You're officially my friend. Yeah, Ryan, we're an enthusiastic bunch, right? I knew this was going to be a great group because of the content already. So I want to add on to something that Carissa said, though. Because I have a concern about this, and I want to see if you have a concern about it. Now, when making a Kickstarter campaign, most of our decisions, or at least a lot of them, are based on how the merch might perform either at Kickstarter or a convention. That's true, right? Okay. So when you're making your Kickstarter, do you ever have a concern? Because, a convention's very different. You got a big open marketplace, and you can generally put all the merch right out on a table. On Kickstarter, do you ever have a concern that, I call it your page getting too long below the fold? Like sometimes when I first start, I'm like, oh my God, this is too many things. I have like 40 things. And, and I see people do it with great success. Like Rob has a lot of selections and they're all very well organized and great graphic design.
Yeah,
Carissa, you have a lot.
I hit the character limit all the time. Like I literally have to delete text just so I can fit stuff.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Does that concern you? Do you think that, let me think of the right way to ask this. Do you think that it's ever, because, Kickstarter buyers tend to look through 30% of a project, right? Something like that.
I don't even know.
Yeah, I'm not even 100% sure. That's what I've heard. But, a lot of Kickstarter backers don't watch the video, screw with it. They kind of whip through it. Hey, that looks cool. And they buy it. It's kind of impulsive, sort of. So I was somewhat concerned if, like in my case, now we got a lot of back issues, right? It was something like 22 back issues. And it's like, how do you show it? It's this huge mosaic of all these books, right? So I don't know the correct way to market that stuff. And I have a real concern that, again, I don't want to say this the wrong way, but I'm always concerned that I might be diluting somebody from looking at my book. Because at the end of the day, these are all like tools to shine a light on the project, right? What do you think is the sweet spot? I'll start with Rob. What's the sweet spot on a Kickstarter for the number of items, merch items, things other than the book?
I don't really know if there is a sweet spot. Like I've seen, I think I have a lot, but there are campaigns that have so many more covers.
Yeah, like 100.
I limit mine. I'm like, okay, well, I could keep going, but instead, that's why I start off.
How many covers in this batch, Rob?
In this batch, so just for issue 7 or all of them?
Just 7.
8 covers.
No shit. Okay. Yeah. So your number is growing too. Carissa, how about you? First, how many covers are there on?
I only have 3 because I thought I would go. I have a lot of merch. Eventually, I'd probably have more covers, but with all my merch, I just stuck with 3 covers.
Well, hold on. We might find, and as I'm fond of saying, there's no wrong answers on the Creative Cranium. The idea is that we're trying stuff out, and your model might be a little better, right? Because And, not for nothing, this isn't a secret from consumers or anything. The merch generally has better profit margins than the books, right? So, but potentially, depending on what you sell the book for and so forth.
Depends.
Yeah, if you're getting a $40 variant or something, yeah, but that's different. You might not sell as many of them. Okay, you ready? Let's work it right into the questions. Which would you sell more of, Rob? A $50 variant book or a $50 merch, like a plushie or an action figure? Rob first.
What have I sold more, or what would I?
Yeah, which is the better mover?
Oh, I sell more $50 comic books than I do merch.
Okay.
Like legit, I honestly, I'm surprised. Like for me, I'm always been like I'm that guy who would bought all the X-Men, ones from Jim Lee back in the day. You know what I mean?
Sure, right. I get it, dude. So, you're preaching to the choir. I'm right there with you.
So as a fan, I get that, but I think that's what people are completionists, or they're like, I love that art and I want that art. Whereas merchandise, I will sell T-shirts and hoodies, which I usually sell for $20 for a T-shirt and $40 for a hoodie. And I think for the, for the zip up, I think I'm doing 50 or 60. I forget offhand, but yeah. And then you see the tin sign and the Waller, So in general, though, I do sell the books more than these items here.
Okay.
Which is nice. Like I said, I'm glad that people are buying them, but they're not I don't have a lot of them available because I didn't think that I needed 100. Right. You know what I mean?
Carissa, how about you? The same question for your campaigns. So you have 3 variants and a bunch of merch. So I guess in your case, the opposite is probably true.
Yeah, I sell a lot of merch. I sell a lot of the stickers and the keychains and the buttons. I have buttons and the metal bookmarks. I sell a lot of that, and a lot of add-ons. I have 36 add-ons. So
nice. Yeah, I got something like that too.
Yeah, it's not even the tiers; those are just the add-ons.
I tell you, beginning Kickstarter creators, if there's one thing I think that we would all agree with, that we all learned, make everything available as an add-on. Because no matter how you make the tier, you don't agree?
I don't.
No. Yeah, Lori doesn't agree either. That way they buy the higher tiers because that's the only way to get it.
So that's one reason. The other reason is that in my case, I've always used BackerKit as my secondary for my fulfillment, and its add-on management system plus shipping information is so much better than Kickstarter's. Kickstarter is good for the pledges. Don't get me wrong. That's why I continue using it, because it's better than going to other places that I've been to or seen. But when it comes to their add-ons, they still haven't been able to touch BackerKit. So I limit my add-ons. So all of my single issues, I will not put into the add-ons at Kickstarter for 2 reasons. 1, because I have them chunked in the pledges, and 2, they can go into BackerKit and pick and choose whatever they want later. And it's not seamless when you go from Kickstarter to BackerKit. So when you go into BackerKit,
I get it.
You have to go into each individual add-on from Kickstarter, make sure that the one that you created in BackerKit then matches. And another thing is, if for me, I do free shipping for their US backers. And then so I then have to create a different add-on for BackerKit, because then there's a different shipping rate,
Right,
so
right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I have to any item that I do in Kickstarter as an add-on, I have to double it in.
I get it. Okay.
So so it's kind of, for me, it's a sake.
Yeah, and I didn't say the statement correctly. So first, I agree with what Rob said, but let me tell you more directly what I didn't mean necessarily that your higher tiered things, you could split them up. I meant if you had something from your previous, all my previous back issues are on add-ons.
Yes.
No, but why wouldn't you do that? Well,
again, because all of my so there's certain things, for example, the plush from the last campaign is an add-on. So I do have that for my last one. I have my volumes, because it's more of a collected. So if somebody wanted to jump in and get that instead of getting individual issues, that's available.
Sure.
But I don't do all of my, I have so many T-shirts and hoodies and stuff from my past ones that I have in BackerKit, and that I could easily import from my past BackerKits You know, whereas like Kickstarter, I have to manually enter that every time.
Yeah.
Well,
see, I don't use BackerKit.
Right. Well, that's the other thing is if you have a lot of things to manage, you know, then it just
Jax Axe has a question, and actually we'll give this one to Carissa first, and then Rob can answer second. Would you recommend new Kickstarter users to consider using BackerKit?
Okay, so the issue with this is I'm going to give you Rob's answer, and it's no. I asked Rob the exact same question, and he said when you have a ton of backers, then you go and do that. But when you're in the beginning, you don't need it. Yeah.
So I would say if you have less than 200 backers, then the answer is no.
Okay, that's a good.
Yeah, so it's not so much a beginning; it's more of a how many people you have and how many products.
It's when you got to oil the machine because there's so many parts.
Right, because that's just it. Like when you have a larger shipping project and you have so many items, it actually is better to have BackerKit. But it'll also pay for itself then because you have all the extra add-ons in BackerKit. So that's the other thing too is, you know, BackerKit then takes I think 2% of your Kickstarter earnings. So if you sell like all the same add-ons and then you're, you know, not paying for it, so that's the kind of things you got to consider too, you know?
Yeah. You know, I guess I haven't even made the plunge into BackerKit, and I'll tell you why. We had this conversation yesterday. It was in the group. Do you know Indie Comic Conspiracy? Mm-hmm. You know those guys, right?
Yeah,
they had a great topic in there, and the gist of it was, when do you jump over from professional fulfillment because there's so many smart ways to do things. Pirate ship, and you can print your own labels, and you can do all this other stuff. And you know, and I'm not the expert. I want to hear from each of you, but I'll tell you my 2 cents, and this is what I added to the group. When I did 2 books ago or 3 books ago, it was the first time it was over 100 customers. I can remember going to the post office, and on something like the 11th day of going to the post office, I was like, what am I doing here? This is too much logistical work. And by the way, I'm not ever disparaging anybody who does this themselves. I get it that there's costs to everything and a real cost and a real benefit. So I totally understand why. But I remember thinking to myself, geez, I didn't get into writing comics so I could be post office guy. I want to be writing next story guy. So I started looking into the professional fulfillment options, which I now do pretty steadily. And I would say the benchmark for that is 100. Unless you're really patient, you don't mind printing labels and updating software and going to the post office and all the stuff that goes with it. Rob, what do you have to say for that? Professional fulfillment. Where's the line where you would do that?
So here's the thing. It depends on how many backers you have, and it depends on how complicated your fulfillment is. So in my case, I think I overcomplicate everything as far as like between the merchandise and the orders and stuff. I think that it's too complicated to hand off to a fulfillment company to do accurately. So I do it all myself. Honestly, like
hold on, rewind. I got to ask you this question. So how do you use BackerKit and then fulfill it yourself? Don't they fulfill the other end?
No, I use it. You can use BackerKit if you want, but they're not a fulfillment company. They're a fulfillment software. For you to be able to manage and organize and go to export your shipping information and print out your labels. They're basically, it's an organizational tool plus kind of a pre-order. So you can make more money by setting up a pre-order or, like having the add-ons through them as well. So they don't fulfill themselves. I mean, I believe they do have that paid service, but it's not their main thing.
Yeah, I think they do that now. That's why I ask.
Yeah, well, I think that's because of their new crowdfunding. They've gotten more into that.
Right.
But I do not use that service.
Greg also mentions, hey, that's our buddy RJ does that with Critical Blast, and the people that have worked with him, they rave about him. So I'll give RJ a quick shout out here. That's Critical Blast. If you're not sure, BackerKit to me, my orders are pretty complex. I could see where for Rob, where there's. How many backers are you going to have this time, Rob?
Yes. I mean, right now,
1,000.
I wish. Believe me, I would love that. The highest I've gotten is almost 800, and that was for Snowball 1. I think the highest for Nightwolf was like almost 600. So probably between 6 and 8 I'm expecting. I would love to break that and go higher. So anybody out there want to join the wolf pack?
Yeah, I'm gonna join. I'll be there.
Yeah.
Carissa, now how about you? Do you fulfill all your stuff yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I have my handy dandy little label printer here. I have an electric scale here. All I do is put I use Pirate Ship, so it remembers all the addresses.
Right.
So all I have to do is do it again. And also, it even saves all my package information. So if I do it by tiers, so it's always the same weight or whatever it is. So I just have to hit repeat, and then Carol, you make me ADD.
That's another thing about having a lot of too many add-ons in Kickstarter, though, or even in BackerKit. You can't do it by tiers, because then what if somebody adds in something, then that throws your whole weight off.
Yeah. But yeah, so no, I probably, I don't know if I'll ever get to the level that I have to do. I don't even know how you would do professional. Like, what do you do? Mail it to them? Like, how would that even work? Like, I don't even know how that kind of.
How do I do mine?
No, like if you had a professional do it.
Well,
like
that's what he said. That's how he does.
Yeah, that's how I do it.
Oh, it is?
What I do, yeah, it's hey, and look, I'm a shill. I work with Comics Wellspring, and they take care of me, and I feel that their customer service is good. I've worked with several printers. I won't name the others, but Comics Wellspring, I like them because they take care of their customers. And what I do, they have a deal where you get a small percentage off for running their banner during your campaign. And honestly, the discount's not that much. I do feel like they should step up that discount because they're not the lowest price printer, but they are an American printer, which I kind of wanted to do. And the second thing is when you get to the end of your campaign, you download the spreadsheet. And what I always do is I populate it myself. They have like a spreadsheet, and it's like, okay, Carissa Grant, and it's like a column going across of every one of your things, and you tick, 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 tick,
That
tick.
sounds more complicated than me just doing it myself. And for me to say that, I'm like the super laziest person ever. So for me to say that's saying something. But yeah, no, I use Comic Wellsprings, and I did kind of see that on their site, and I get everything shipped here, and I don't get everything from Comic Wellspring, so they wouldn't be able to do like my metal prints or the wood print.
Right. Hey, that's one of the things. There's still not several, but there's a small segment of books that I still ship myself, and those are things like the CGC books, and I also ship the etchings.
Yeah. See, I think I have that mentality of, if I want it done right, do it myself, even though I'd probably screw it up more than they would, but at least I have me to blame. So I'd probably always do it myself unless it really became something like big but until I feel like the room's going to cave in on me with all my merch, then I'd probably, and it's almost there probably.
That's how I had to get a storage unit, because
I was gonna say when I'm like Rob, maybe I might get it, but I think for now I'll do my best to not be lazy. Like I run my own business besides this. So I guess I run two businesses, and the hardest part is I have to 24 hours a day pretty much communicate with my clients, and there was a way to pay an automatic one to send here. This is your schedule. And I could have done it, and it was tempting, but then I'm like, when it's said and done, it really didn't take me that long. And it's just something, if that system screws up, I'm the one that's going to get yelled at from my clients, not that system. So I'd rather screw it up on my own than have someone else do it for me.
Yeah, I think accountability is a big thing for me too.
Yeah, and hey, look, mistakes still happen.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just it. Like for me, I like to be like, hey, I'm doing this. I'm trying to do it all. I'm sorry if I mess up. I will make it right. I can say, if somebody else is doing it, I can't exactly make promises what somebody else is doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
I will admit this to you. I had less errors and less shipping damages because I tracked that stuff. I had less errors when they did it.
Yeah.
That's definitely impressive.
Because I always make one or two mistakes. And to me, anytime, hey, this is one man's opinion. You guys are probably much smarter than me.
They've sure screwed up like 6 of my orders. So as much as I still use them, I would not trust them to send out my stuff.
Oh.
It might just be me. But I mean, they sent me like the holochrome instead of the foil. The foil scratched too easily. They didn't put the finishing on it. They sent me they never sent they printed out the wrong files. I wouldn't even know that if I didn't inspect it first, if I didn't see it. I mean, I have no idea how it's going to look when they get it.
I'll tell you what, let me ask this question. This is slightly off topic then, but I'd like to hear your opinion, Carissa. So one of the things that people do now is to ship from China.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Yeah, why not? Because it's like, I looked it up. It's less than half the price.
It's actually 1/3 the price for my graphic novel. And I mean, I'm in the US. I want to support the US. But mostly it's also, I don't know the quality. I don't know how it's going to look. I don't know. If it gets caught in customs that I've heard several times,
sure.
I just don't, I don't know. It's not against anyone that does it.
I can speak to both sides of the.
Yeah, let's hear Rob. What do you got to say?
Ahead.
So my single issues are all 100% American printers. However, the trades, these are, so I have a middleman in Chicago, which is Printlore, and they print out of China. And also the plushies have come out of China. The detail, the quality is actually a lot better.
I have thought about it for the graphic novel because it is a huge. To me, the single issues, it's a little bit cheaper, but not enough for me to worry about it. But the graphic novel is. When
it comes to something like this with the die cut, nobody could get anywhere close.
That's cool
to that. I mean,
my graphic novel. That was what I was going to say. Is that the only thing I would consider is the graphic novel because and Rich is going to help me do that. But my graphic novel to print it by Comicwell Springs is $19, and through China it was $7. So
that's
$19. What do you? How much chrome is on it?
No, there's no chrome. It's 236 pages. So
that's all page count here, sir.
Yeah, it's all, and of course it's 80-pound glossy.
And I would imagine it's a smaller print run.
That was the low. I think that was a low print run. But they don't go down too much. I mean, it might go down $1, but it won't go down a lot.
I was going to say I got a 106-page graphic novel, and that's with the Chrome logo on the cover, and it's the cardstock cover. And I think it's 12, but that's 106 pages. 200 pages. That's a big one.
Well, that's the other thing is, like looking like the total from what I got these together, they gave me one total price when I ordered everything. So I couldn't technically break out the price, but I think it was $9 per book.
Yeah.
For what
that's awesome. The hardcover, I like that.
So let's jump over to the Kickstarters for a second. And man, thanks always, guys, for sharing your tips and your educational things. And I hope that the viewers find it as interesting as I do, because I always want to try and learn more from other creators. And
let's sound smart.
Yeah. Hey, you got to figure, man. You get all the smart people together. That's when things start to happen, right?
Right.
But I do want to chat a
wellspring of knowledge.
Let's talk a little bit about Nightwolf. So, Rob, your customer base. We talked last week about how to build your audience, and that, by the way, that would have been a great one to have you on, because you have the Wolf Pack there, right? Can you tell us a little bit about what kind of customer will love Nightwolf?
Right. Yeah. So anybody who's into werewolves, vampires, supernatural, werewolf the apocalypse, a lot of that stuff is kind of like stylistically where my genre is and fits. But Nightwolf is a story about a young man who finds out that he's born a werewolf, gets thrown into a supernatural war against demons, witches, vampires, other werewolves. And, basically he just, he's an 18-year-old who, just had everything. He's a, kid who had a football scholarship, had popularity, pretty girlfriend, all that. And then one day on his 18th birthday, pretty much shit hits the fan and supernatural creatures start coming out of the woodwork. So it's kind of like a little bit of Buffy the Vampire Slayer mixed in with underworld and fun horror. There's a lot of blood flying in the issues.
Yeah, and just a quick comment, viewers. This is a really well-written series too. There's cool dialogue. It has great character development.
The art is epic.
Yeah, highly recommended. So if you get a chance, please check out Nightwolf. That's on Kickstarter right now. So let's jump over and talk a little bit about Worthy Chaos Redemption. So, this one has a kind of intriguing horror premise also. Carissa, what type of customer who will love Worthy Chaos Redemption?
Pretty much anyone that likes, definitely supernatural, because it's got the most supernatural tendencies ever. But also any kind of survival horror, either game or movie or show, because I'm a big survival. Resident Evil was my thing, so a lot of it's Resident Evil, especially Resident Evil 2. Book 3 is like 12 issues of Resident Evil 2
love
right
them.
there.
Carissa, you had me at hello.
Yeah. The first book is Silent Hill. Pretty much, they're in a town, trapped, they merge with hell, and they're dealing with hellhounds and ghosts and zombies and skeletons and Anubis from the underworld. I mean, they got it all. And then book 2 is very ghost orientated. They're trapped in a haunted asylum, so it's very paranormal, and they have to solve. I don't know if anyone remembers back in the day, the Seventh Guest. That's a little bit like that. That's really Seventh Guest.
That's awesome.
Trying to figure out what happened there and all that stuff. And then and of course Buffy the Vampire Slayer. My blonde character kicks ass. She just is such a badass. And there's a lot of angel demon lore in it. Accurate demons. That was the only thing I hated about Supernatural. They would just pull out a name and make it whatever demon they wanted to. It's like, why use the name if you're not, make up a name. But all the demons and angels we use are the real one from scripture or myths or legends, and of course we put our own spin on it, but it's generally a lot of the original. And we have unique things too. We have the unique vampires, which are the Clotters. Their heart beats every 6 hours to just enough to keep rigor mortis off. If you cut them, it's absolutely disgusting pudding blood, that clotted crap that comes out. It's disgusting. But that's because in vampire movies, these vampires have no heartbeat. You cut them, but they bleed. And it always bothered me. So I decided to change the rules up. And I like the
they're just bleeding their lunch.
Yeah. And the worst part about our vampires, I guess, is they all have a hive mind. And if they taste your blood, any one of them can track you anywhere you go, no matter what.
Oh, that's a neat piece of lore.
Yeah, it's terrifying. And if you kill one of them, they will hunt you down for revenge. And that's kind of what the premise is for the next, starting in this issue and on. And for the next 3 issues or so, they have to. That's exactly what happens. And so now they have to go hunt down the entire family, which is an entire swarm of vampires, all nested in this giant warehouse. And for issue 6, Ian Chase Nichols from The Tick and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, he's working on a wraparound cover of vampires coming and swarming around them, which was his idea. So I'm going to give credit to him. He's like, can I do a wraparound cover? I was like, yes. So he's doing that. And then like the cover you saw, the Ken Hunt did the
that's the one I like.
The DC artist, who's absolutely amazing, and then the colors.
And do you mind if I ask you? I forget if I asked you, what are you going to sell the wood carvings for? Or is it part of a set?
It's part of my higher tiers have them.
Yeah.
I only bought like 3 to try it out, and technically one's mine, so someone can feel free to not buy that one. But my higher tiers have them. Like the very, very highest one has everything. It's like $395, and it has the tall Anubis statue, a metal print, a wood print, a metal bookmark. It has everything from all the other tiers, and then I think another one has it. One of the miniature tiers has it. So yeah, it's in there. But yeah, anything, and of course anyone that has if anyone's ever wanted a horror romance story, there's no mushy love thing in there, but it really tests the boundaries of what you would do for the person that you love. I mean, these characters literally later on go to hell for each other, so they're stretched to the limit of what they will do, and they'll do anything. So yeah, woohoo! I back this.
Yeah, thank you guys. And I was a little nervous about this one, so thank you very much for your support. I was thinking I might even jump on yours while we're on the air here, but I will tell you that, like I say, I was nervous about this one because it's a little bit different than what I'd done before, and it's also a little bit more like a YA type of feel. And while I wouldn't go so far as to say it's a kid's book, because that is something different, it'd be fair enough to say that it's all ages appropriate, by which I mean that there's no language or situations. It is all, the only hesitation being there's some scary depictions of monsters and aliens. But it's similar in tone to something like Harry Potter or Hunger Games. It's that kind of tone. And the premise is, the elevator pitch, after an alien encounter, a troubled teenager gains the ability to communicate with a race of legendary monsters. If you like Bigfoot, you like the Loch Ness Monster, you like the Mothman, you'll like the Call of the Cryptid. Also got a generous dose of heavy metal mixed in there for everybody.
Nice.
So coming back around to Nightwolf, Rob. So we know that you're a big convention guy too. What are your must-have items for merchandise for a convention?
Definitely the books. There's no point in it without it.
How many do you take? What's a shipment of books look like?
My gosh. I take too much. I'm that guy that doesn't want to run out of books. So, I know like there's ones out there who are like, yeah, I sold out of my books before we left. I was like, no.
Paul says it all the time. I was like, then why don't you bring more?
Right? That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I don't want to, like, I make sure, like, I have like 3 long boxes stuffed full of every single issue, and their like variants, just to make sure that like I have everything. I take as much as I possibly can cram into my car to make sure that I can fill my table, and then if I still have stuff, I'll have it in the back behind me and tell people about it, and then pull it out.
And
for example,
you bring the single and the novels, right? You bring both.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I have 2 racks full of the single issues and their variants.
That's what I thought.
And then like I have the novel or the graphic novels in front. And then I basically like I'll hand them like the hardcover, and they love to see the hardcover.
I love to see your prints. I was going through your prints. They're over there. Oh my gosh.
The print books. Yeah, those are definitely a must, I think. Especially if you're starting out. I'm going to give you a con story from my first con, because I had a single issue, no variants, and I had a 6-foot table to fill. I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do with one book, right? So what I did was I printed out a bunch of 8x10 prints. Hey!
Just use it for the confetti.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I thought that might be fun. Keep telling your story.
Right, yeah. So with the I did 8x10 prints, a bunch of 11x17 posters. I filled the table with them. I had my book in the middle, and I had a nice my backdrop.
Your setup was awesome.
I made myself look professional, right? So I think it's always important to have obviously your main book, but also have prints, posters, any kind of eye candy that you can get. Even if you can't get a bunch of merchandise, definitely have prints and posters. They're cheap to get, and people usually pay a lot more for them.
Yeah,
than a book.
Rob, I got to tell you, and viewers, if you're just tuning in, hey, we're chatting with Rob Multari and Carissa Grant. One of the things about Rob, he has I almost said the best, but one of the best convention fronts, I would say.
You're right the first time.
Yeah, and here's what I mean by that. When he has the double table, first of all, right? You're always a double table, right?
Yeah, within the last year and a half, yeah.
And that is what, a 10-foot banner?
It's a 8x8.
8x8. Okay, it's a whopper. And that was one of the ones that inspired me, because one of my challenges continues to be that conventions at the level that I'm at are not, like, I sell pretty well at the conventions, and I can make my table back and even sell through a run if I needed to. But I can't quite get to a level where I can pay for 2 or 3 nights worth of hotel rooms and a flight, which is part of the con experience, right? If you're gonna, I mean, most places you're gonna stay at a hotel room somewhere. I don't want to stay in a dump. You know what I mean? So,
I have done that.
I know. But I said, and look, it's like we all, get inspired by seeing other creators. And I said, hey, man, I got to do what Rob's doing, which is, and this is a little bit more of the indicator of being the publisher more so than the writer. So we'll circle back around to this. But you make this big front, which is, hey, you look the part. This could be Image. This could be Aftershock. This could be Boom. Your rig looks like a solid publisher, Rob. So, and the idea being that, hey, a customer will come up, they'll feel more comfortable. They might spend a little bit more money. It's a little bit more of an engaging experience, right?
Yeah, I mean, I try to make it look. So I again, a graphic designer is my full-time job. So I've done trade show material for jobs that I've worked for in the past. So I kind of took that knowledge and I applied it to my stuff, and it's more an immersive experience. You can get them behind the table with you, take pictures with the backdrop. People love it. You have a good catchy backdrop. You have great stuff on your table. That's definitely, especially if you're sitting there and you're people are walking by, like, you want to catch their eye, right? And once they look and hesitate for enough, that's when okay, you can say hi, bring them in, give them a little bit more. You kind of got to have that eye candy out there.
Right, exactly. Carissa, how about you? When you go to the conventions, what are your must-haves? What do you just?
I hate
not just books. You hate them.
I hate them.
I thought you did pretty well at the last one. You said.
I did good at a couple of them, but I can't stand them. I just, they're too loud, and that's sad because I'm Italian. I should definitely be able to talk over them, but yeah, I just maybe it's just because I'm new, but it was. I think I'm gonna like horror cons better because I don't have to say, do you like horror? But
if you say no there, that would be a shocker.
Yeah, right? I'll be like, you're in the wrong place, buddy. I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, I think horror cons are definitely going to be my thing. I have my first one in June, and then I have one in August, and then one in September. So we'll see how they go. But I'm the same as him though. I take everything. So it was like this whole, I had the push cart that my husband put together for me, and then I'm dragging it up the stupid ramp, and thanks, Tim. And yeah, that drove me crazy. But I don't know. I like talking to the people. It's yelling out to them while they're doing something that I'm not good at.
Yeah, Carissa, you said this to me before about how you didn't, I forget how you phrased it, but like you didn't really like talking to the people that much. And I'll say it again, you're great at it. You're a very passionate creator, and you can feel the enthusiasm of your project.
If I can get them at my table, like if they start looking, then I'm great to talk to them. Like I can, like once they looked at it, they would buy it. But to get them to come to because they're going to do their own thing, the smaller cons I did better at because it wasn't as loud, and they do more of, they do more rounds than they do. But the big one I went to, they were like, they knew where they were going. They were going.
That's just the thing. Like you have to figure out too, like what cons are better for you. For example, like as you said, big cons, the problem is that usually they're there for the celebrities. They're there to spend the money on the things that they went there to see. They're not typically looking, you just kind of have to catch them, at a certain, like I try not to like the people who just kind of like glance and walk around. I try not to hound them too much. Because they're generally not interested. They're just kind of browsing. But if there's like a slight hesitation, okay, this one might have, so that's when you say, hey, how you doing? Do you like so-and-so and so and XYZ? And if they if they continue talking, you get them through, hand them the book. That's typically, you generally going to have a sale there. And you just have to know your audience. And, you just got it. Like, you are very enthusiastic about, your story. You're very, it's just getting that to come, like, them to the table. And it depends on the cons, like I said.
Yeah.
I was attempted, I was considering Tripwire, but I forgot it at home. So, but yeah, so my very first con sucked because it was like a tag sale for like it wasn't really a con. So they were just there for like, Funko Pops and whatever. My second con, which was in the Smoky Mountains in the Gatlinburg, was awesome. I mean, people were very, go happy and all that stuff. My book signing was the best I did because everyone wanted to support the local chick, it's right in town. It's my own hometown. So, well, not my hometown. It's my hometown now. I don't. But then the big noisy con, they were there for Star Wars, Star Trek, anime, or the guests.
Yeah.
And it just
wasn't horror cons, as you said, would be good, and then I think smaller comic focused cons.
Yeah.
That's I think where a lot of us indies really need to kind of get back and focus with, because I think these, especially if they're getting bigger and bigger, or if they're already bigger. Like I said, they're there for the celebrities. They're not necessarily there for the artists or small press as much.
Yeah. I have a small gaming one coming up. I have 3 in a row. I didn't realize. So the end of May. The end of May is a gaming one that's local. Then the next week is the Horror Con, which I'm excited about because James O'Barr is there and he's like my idol. So, and then the weekend after that is the Nashville Comic-Con, which is thankfully only 2 days. The last one that I did that was huge was 4 days. So I wanted to, not only kill myself by the end, but everyone else. So, but then I have Fanboy in Knoxville, which I think is pretty big. They have a lot of guests, but I don't need a hotel. So if I get annoyed, I can just go home. And then I have 2 in the Smoky Mountains, Gatlinburg, 1 horror and 1 small one. And I had gone to the small one as a guest and I kind of liked it because you could talk to people. It wasn't as loud and, and there's just enough guests there where they can get through it in a couple of, an hour or 2 and then they just come right back to you. So I agree. I think the smaller ones are going to be better for me because I've had better luck there. And I do have a book signing on Free Comic Day. So it's like, woohoo.
Nice. Yeah. Let me ask you guys what you would do in this situation. So I just got approved for the first time to have a table at the Small Press Expo, which I guess it's down in Maryland. Which is great. Yeah, super. But it's the same weekend as Baltimore Comic-Con. And Baltimore is my hometown con. It's the only one that I do every year. I kind of have
I wish I could do that one every year.
What, Baltimore?
Yeah, that was one of my favorite ones. But they moved it around. When they moved it to October, it didn't work out. Now they moved it back to September, but now they have scheduling conflicts this year. It's like
Well, and I will add for people that are listening, something that, man, you gotta have at the con, and I had to learn this the hard way. You gotta have the Stripe or the Square card reader that plugs into your phone.
Yep, absolutely.
Because cons used to be a thing where everybody used to bring cash and you'd spend cash at the con, but it's not like that anymore.
I sold a lot more prints than I thought I would, especially the Anubis ones, of course. I sold a bunch to somebody who I knew I would, had an Egyptian hieroglyphic shirt. And I was like, you're going to want to stop at my table.
Yeah.
Because if anyone's going to buy, and then he's looking at it and it's like, I know why I stopped here. And I was like, you had a neon sign, but
hey, let's take a second and ask that question about what we might do. Like Rob made a good point. Like, and this is also, do you guys know JD Rosario? He always mentions this. How you got to be a little bit of a carnival barker, right? You got to be a little bit of a huckster. What are some of the techniques you can use to potentially engage with a customer? Like one of our things is, we always know this going in. I get a stack of 250 stickers made, a little robot. You know what I mean? It's a great come online. Do you like little robots? Would you like a free sticker? And just about every kid says yes, and then they come over. And generally speaking, the type of person that likes a robot sticker is going to like my books. So, if you can reel them in with the robot sticker, you probably got a good chance of maybe making a sale. How about you, Rob? Do you have any techniques that you'd recommend to reel somebody in at a Comic-Con?
Like I said, I mostly just having stuff like I use the sticker trick, but not so much verbally. So in the front of my table, in front of the stacks of books, I have like all of my die cut stickers laid out. So people are, that like, again, it's the whole catching them to kind of like hesitate at the table. And then you say, hey, how you doing? But you also have to do it Like for me, I make sure I have a lot of caffeine, so I need or like something like that keeps me like because like you can tell like by the end of Sunday, I'm like peopled out, So like, but like in general, but you got to keep that high energy going because like once they stop at the table long enough for you to say, "Hey, how you doing?" Right. You have to be energetic. You have to enjoy the moment, and get them excited about your stuff.
Stickers.
There you go.
It's a nice one.
What we're talking about.
Yeah. Now, that's well said, Rob. Enjoy the moment, right? I think that as creators, we forget that a lot. And I sometimes like to mention, I'll just chime in that money's not always look, we can all agree money's a great thing, right? But it's probably maybe not the driving force behind making things creatively, or at least that's maybe just true in my case. But, I think we all know that if it was really money we were after, there's certain types of books that sell a lot more copies. There's certain things you could do that would make a lot more money than making comic books.
So I think I would make more money not doing comics.
You might be right.
all that freelance web jobs that I did to put into this, from the get, that could have been vacations.
Sure, buddy, sure. Carissa, how about you at your convention booth? What might be how do you tend to reel people in?
Besides the tripping? Yeah, mine was anyone that had any kind, is more than you think, anyone that had a horror shirt, hat, button, anything horror related on them, I would say, "Oh, I like your button. I like your shirt. Do you like horror? If you like horror, this is something you would like." So it's mostly, noticing their shirt or whatever. And,
even sometimes cosplayers you could catch doing that too.
Yeah. There was this one guy going around with this giant freaking hammer that I was like, I was actually getting sick of seeing it because it was like every single 30 minutes going by. And this is a huge convention. I was just like, is he selling something that I need to buy, or what is he going on? But I was getting exhausted just watching this guy do that. But yeah, that is mostly how I got them. And if they don't, I would just say, if they come anywhere near the table, I would just say, are you into horror or supernatural? And then usually it's one or the other, or, if not, be like, then this isn't for you, go away. No, I'm just kidding.
Sure. How many times I've said, do you like werewolf supernatural books? And like, half the time, or not half the, I'd say like maybe like 10, 20% of the time, like people are like, no. And I'm like, oh. So I'm like, oh, you're just looking at the art, and they're like, oh yeah, I love the art.
Yeah, it was. I think twice it was a little awkward, and especially when they're like, not really, and I was like, not really, or no.
You got to learn to be able to like it. Like that's one thing that you do learn the more you do it, is how to sidestep that.
Yeah.
But then like it's funny because like then you get the people who are like, yeah, who doesn't? And I'd be like, you'd be surprised.
There was only one chick that I was like, you're halfway through your pitch and you can tell that she kind of wasn't interested, but I couldn't stop my pitch now because I can't be like, okay, go away, you're obviously not interested. So I had to finish talking, and it was very awkward for me because I'm just like, okay, you can go now.
Well, look at that as a good practice. So you're developing your pitch, you're working on it. Like it doesn't matter how glossy-eyed they are. You throw that pitch out there like a professional baseball pitcher.
Yeah.
Nice.
And you practice that, and you keep on doing it, because if you do it and somebody's glossy-eyed and you can still be able to maintain that excitement, sometimes they're like, all right, cool, yeah, I'll take one. Like
I have to
sometimes you win them over.
There was one guy who was almost as excited as I was, and he was so excited. He's like, you got me so. This is gonna sound horrible. He goes, you got me so excited, I need a cigarette. I was like, I don't know how to take that. He bought one of everything. Like he bought all 3 issues. He came back and bought the prints, and he needed like one of the buttons and the stickers, and yeah, it was just. But he was so excited that I was like, you're like my biggest fan. I met you like 4 seconds ago. This is great. So. And
it kills me too, is like the people who are super excited, be like, oh my God, I love this, I'll be right back, and then never comes back, and you're like,
yeah, thanks for nothing.
Yeah. Well, and you both brought up a great point, and this is something that I always like to mention, is that customers like to discover things more so than to be sold. And like they want to feel like they found something cool. Hey, this really speaks to me. I went out and I found it, or it was internet search, or somebody recommended it. Where if it's just like buy this, they start to resist it. even if it's very cool. That's my theory anyway. So the more things,
you're totally right. You're totally right.
The more things you can have. Go ahead, Rob.
I was gonna say the more things that you can. So like people who aren't interested and you keep pushing them to buy and they eventually buy, they're not coming back. You know what I mean? Even if they may enjoy it. So I'd say probably 9 times out of 10, they're probably gonna be like, oh, I bought this item that now I don't want it. Or because if they're not interested, they're not interested. But if there's somebody who actually is genuinely interested in it, they will love it more, and you will get more of a loyal fan base from that rather than like the cold waters floating off into nowhere. And I kind of treat my email list the same way, is that like if you are genuinely interested, then I want you on my email list. You know what I mean? If somebody is
wait for that one.
So if somebody is like, oh yeah, I'll do it just to do it, so kind of like those when you're doing the if you're doing like an email list builder with a bunch of other creatives doing like a free giveaway to have people sign up, you're going to lose a lot of those subscribers and it's going to hurt you in the long run.
Right. Rob, thanks for saying that. I have not had luck with those, and I'll tell you why. Well, a couple of reasons. The biggest one is most of that stuff is incompatible with the terms of the mailing service, depending on how you do it, but a large section of it. And the second thing is like you said, you get yourself involved in these mammoth email lists, but then you send the first one and it's like a race to the unsubscribe. It's
and then you look spammy, and then like you basically ruined everything you built up over how many years? Yeah.
So let's do one last question, because we're almost out of time here, but man, thanks so much, guys, for sharing your feedback and your experience on these matters. The last thing that I would ask you is, from learning what you learned so far with merchandising and marketing your Kickstarter campaigns, because both you guys have a little bit of experience, what is something that you would change the next time? Rob, you go first. What is something you learned that you would change on your next campaign?
On my next campaign? Oh man. Honestly, it's more I'm just trying new things. So I don't necessarily I haven't found anything this campaign yet that I don't want to do again. I just keep building off of what I've done and trying different things. So I would say don't stay stagnant. So try not to stay stagnant. Do different things. Try different things. Because the fresher you are, the more experimental you are, the more you can learn what works and what doesn't. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's kind of like more where I'm gonna go for it as advice.
Yeah, that's good advice, man. Thank you. Carissa, how about you? What's one thing that you would change based on what you've learned for your next campaign?
I actually would probably I don't know. I'm still learning. I've done one real successful campaign, so this one is, I guess, my second one. Probably with me, I'd probably I know Rob likes the bigger merchandise, but I probably would not do the bigger statues again, because I'm paranoid shipping them out, and it's really hard to figure out the shipping costs for these things and all that stuff. So I probably wouldn't do as much as I have like 3 statues now, plus the 3D, which is pretty big. And then I have 2 more waiting that I kind of want to keep. So I haven't decided about those yet, but I have my skeleton bird statue and my zombie merman statue. So they may or may not be in the next campaign. If they're not, it's because I decided to keep them. But they're so delicate and they're one of a kind, and it's I think they might stress me out too much. But besides that, I am going to do some more handmade things that, like, Lori does that a lot. And generally I thought I'd be too lazy for it, but I found some ideas that I'm kind of excited to try, like the resin. I got a bunch of resin things I want to do, and the line is called, and my husband came up with this, it wasn't me, but it's called Resin Ain't Evil. And so I'm excited, but I have like ornaments with that, and I have these tiles I want to do, and I have a bunch of stamps and clay stuff I want to try. So I definitely want to explore that. I'm going to make a huge mess, and it probably won't work, but I'm going to try. So we're going to see how that works out. So I think I would stick with smaller shippable things than the bigger ones, just for my own.
That is definitely a very wise decision.
Yeah,
there's a lot of things that I've stepped back from, even though I thought about it, just because of the shipping logistics.
Yeah, I think that the shipping is the biggest thing, and I screwed up shipping the last time. I did not think that my books are so heavy. 3 of my books is 1.5 pounds. So like I lost,
is heavy.
So I lost about $120 in shipping the last one because the shipping was $3 more than I had put down. So that was a lesson learned. So I learned that. So I think shipping is my biggest thing to master, besides this lovely marketing thing.
Well, now that you have some shipping experience and you have addresses, now you can play around with your scale, and you can use the like the zip codes, and then you could use the calculator to figure it out. I
do want to figure out. I'll ask you: do you ship to Canada? Like a lot of things to Canada?
I ship all over the world.
I do too.
So for Canada, what would you say is the lowest cost you've ever shipped to Canada for just like the issues? Do you remember?
15.
Yeah, it's like $18.
It's not that bad. I have 2 shows that are in Canada. One Saturday, and I was tempted to add Canada to my shipping. So I'm considering doing that just because I'm on the Canada show.
You said you're using Pirate Ship. Are you using the simple export rate?
Yes.
Okay, because they'll get you the cheapest external and
single. Okay, I didn't even know there was another option because I generally don't look further than the first one. So I will use the single one. So yeah, I just didn't know how to test that because, I mean, just see if you can find a zip code or an address in Canada, and then use the calculator. That's what that's everything. You ship or do you just ship like issues everywhere?
Everything. I'll ship anything.
Anytime, anywhere.
Everything. It all must get out of my house.
Yeah. To ship the 3 issues or 4 issues to my artist, it's going to cost $47 to ship to the UK. So that'll be fun.
Well, exactly. I think
it's just Christmas bonus.
You just have to, and you need to know that up front, like what it's going to cost you. So when like I said, that shipping calculator is a must, and then also anticipate that if you're not shipping for another like 3 to 4 months, chances are the rate's going to go up at least 25 cents to 30 cents. Yeah. So you could probably even just add that in there, and Kickstarter doesn't do it by cents. So if you're doing it through Kickstarter, obviously it's got to be a dollar amount. So I would just up it to the next dollar. So like if it weighs at whatever pounds and it's going to cost you $40 just in postage, you got to also consider the packaging, the tape, what you're putting, all your stuffing, like pretty much anything. You got to calculate all that into it so you're not losing money. Yeah. I wouldn't overcharge to make money off shipping, but you do want to make sure you're covering your shipping costs so you're not losing that money.
Right. Okay.
And that's for anybody doing this.
Yeah.
It's a good tip, man. It's a good tip.
I want to say thanks to Ryan for being in the audience.
Ryan, thank you very much.
We're going to see Ryan in the next couple of days.
We are.
Yeah, I just booked for his show. He's so freaking popular. The first available was October 21st. So wow. I booked that for my graphic 1 novel. So because I know all my future issues up to book 1, all of book 1. So
you're gonna enjoy it. Ryan's a great guy, and he's fun to talk with, and he's enthusiastic as we are.
Cool. Well, guys, I want to say this has been a great group, and I really want to thank you for sharing your tips and your experience on merchandising. I really learned something, and I hope that some of our viewers did too. Before we say goodbye, let's just take one quick roundup again. Rob, tell us why Nightwolf is the coolest project in the world.
Because you have kick-ass werewolves. No, so basically, it's a different take on werewolves. They're born that way. They have their cultures within. This particular story is about a young man who is part of a an outcast breed. So he finds out that he's a werewolf, but he wasn't. It's kind of in his breed, they're recessive. So this has gone on generations before even his family had an inkling that he was this. So it's kind of a coming of age werewolf tale. Werewolves that are able to keep their mental faculty. It's kind of like if you took Wolverine and but gave him the werewolf ability. You know what I mean? Like he has that feral rage, but he can still think for himself. It's a fun book. It actually puts the werewolf in a superhero / anti-hero kind of a setup. It's a fun story, and it's modern times with swords. I mean, come on.
Great series. Rob, I wish you every success with the Kickstarter. I personally, I love the dialogue. I'm recommending this to our viewers. Go and check out Nightwolf right now. Now we'll jump over to Carissa. Before we go, tell us again why Worthy Chaos is this great value on Kickstarter. Don't pass this up.
Well, for value, I mean, we've reached our first stretch goal, and so for $5 PDF of either issue 1 or issue 4, you get not only the black and white and color version of that issue, you get 16 other issue 1s, including Nightwolf and Timothy's book in there. And so you for $5 you get 18 PDFs of
nice.
Epic Comics, and then mine too. But there's there's 16 amazing issues in there that just everyone gets. So for $5 you really can't let that one go. But as for the book, I mean, it's a complex story. I mean, at its basic level, it's a survival horror, but there's so much more history going on there, and there's a whole other world that we created. And it's an already written story. It was 5 novels that we're converting into about 40 issues. And so they're going to get made whether I lose my house or not. And
we hope you don't.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm on an interview and you see like a nothing in the background, I lost my house. But for right now, it's going good. And we make one like pretty much every other month. So like my next campaign is June 20th. The one after that is August 13th, and then October 3rd. So these are getting made. And it's pretty much nonstop action. There's no boring parts to it, which might upset some people because there's the first 3 issues are so chaotic, but it's in the name, so I figure I'm allowed to do that. And they have great dialogue. They have you could watch their bond grow, and we have a sort of uniqueness to it where our characters were actually written by 2 completely different people. My co-writer wrote Draven, so all of Draven's mannerisms and thoughts and actions and dialogue is all her. Whereas, I do Serafina and everything that's written and created for her is through me. So you have 2 completely different personalities. And that makes it a little bit more unique. And so you have the story of these 2 characters that grow stronger as me and her grow stronger. Now we're like sisters. And I mean, in 2 years, we wrote 11 novels for fun. So, and then we decided to turn it into a comic book. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a sarcastic humor in there, just enough to be fun and exciting. So yeah, if you like any kind of horror or adventure or Romeo and Juliet in hell, you'll like the book. So.
Outstanding. Worthy Chaos Redemption. Viewers, please go and check that one out. Carissa, I wish you every success with that project as well. And man, I appreciate both you guys so much to come on the show and to share this information with the world, as it were.
Well,
so, it's a real pleasure. This has been an episode of the Creative Cranium with Rob Moltari and Carissa Grant. Just want to say thanks to the viewers. Thanks for joining us. And we'll see you tomorrow night on a special episode with Atrocity Press. Other than that, look for us next Thursday, and don't forget to support these projects. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.